They brought in a bunch of pitchers. See how these guys stack up in the bullpen. Because, Frank, I want to get your take on this because, Broads, he's the optimist. He thinks that the Phillies can make the playoffs every single year, even if they had that bullpen every single year from last season, which we all know if they had that bullpen every single year, the bullpen probably wouldn't be that bad every single year. Would we agree on that?
No.
You think that well, they did have Workman in it. So that being said, if they just have a better bullpen, Frank, should we start to think that Dave Dombrowski has put together a possible playoff team?
Makes the difference here. The bullpen is going to be it because basically what happened is the Phillies were confronted. All right, do you rebuild when you have JT as a free agent? If you have Didi Gregorius as a free agent? And they kind of took a step back and said, look, I think the best thing going forward is not to rebuild, but see if we get the bullpen right, will that make a difference? And I think that's their strategy this year. And the other thing, too, that was the Achilles heel for the Phillies is besides the bullpen, was the starting rotation. They didn't have any depth. So they've tried to add some starting pitching depth so that the bullpen doesn't have to pitch an entire game like happened several times last year. Remember, that bullpen was really bad, and they also had to pitch some entire games, like 5 of them down the stretch. You can't win games like that. So I think they're trying to roll the dice, see if that offense, which was very good, if you look at the numbers, it was very good, that if you have the better pitching depth, bullpen, starter, that it will make the difference, and that's what they're kind of banking on.
All right, so let's look at their bullpen. They've added a couple arms. Let's see what they've done over the last 2 weeks here, Frank, and kind of get your breakdown on what we might see at spring training with what they now have in the bullpen.
So certainly Archie Bradley is a solid signing. We've talked about that one before. The Phillies get somebody who has closed, who has pitched at the back of the bullpen. And the Phillies really needed to add one more veteran beyond that, and they added it today in Brandon Kintzler. And Kintzler, I was actually surprised he settled for the minor league deal, but there might be some handshake agreement behind the scenes that he's a good bet to make the team. As I think Ken Rosenthal tweeted today that he was the best reliever on the Marlins last year and the best reliever on the Cubs the year before that. So I'm kind of surprised he had to take a minor league deal, but clearly Kintzler's confident he's going to make this bullpen, and the Phillies probably are as well. And when you have those two guys with Hector Neris, who's had his moments that haven't been wonderful, but has been mostly solid, then you're starting to feel a lot better about that. And then you have the young guys that looked really promising last year, Jojo Romero and also Connor Brogdon. Then you bring in a couple others in the mix that might be something, the Jose Alvarados and the Sean Coonrods, and they're hoping that they have the makings of it certainly should be better than everything's got to be better than last year, right?
Is there someone to you that will definitely close? Like you are the closer? Or do you think they kind of have to figure that out as the season starts?
I think that's kind of up in the air. Certainly Hector Neris hasn't been a lockdown closer the last couple of years. In fact, when they traded for the aforementioned Brandon Workman, Workman became closer, and he quickly became not the closer. So Neris has that experience. When Neris is on, he's on. When he's not, he's not. So I think they're going to open-minded in that. Certainly Bradley has closed and Kintzler has closed. Kintzler was the longtime closer for the Minnesota Twins, and it's been very, very good in the major leagues as a closer. So at least they have some options, and I don't think they need to commit to any of them at the moment, but you have some options.
Give us your take on they signed Didi today, and then Girardi came out and said Segura is going to play second. So what happens to Kingery? Do you have a 3-headed monster in center field? Is he just kind of the jack of all trades, master of none? What do we see with that situation?
So I would say they haven't decided. There's still the chance there could be a designated hitter, which is the funny thing in all of this, right? So if that happens, well, then obviously he's the extra man, I think, Then I think you might see Rhys Hoskins DHing a lot. You might see Alec Bohm playing a lot of first base, and then Segura can bounce between second and third. But I think if there is no DH, then you kind of have Kingery as your super utility guy like he used to be. And then, you know what? Let's face it. Last year, one of the strengths the Phillies had was that DH position because people kind of moved in and out of it. They didn't have a dedicated DH. And Kingery sort of at least helps them sort of navigate through a kind of mixing in and mixing out of players because he's so versatile. Guys are going to need their days off. Andrew McCutchen's going to need his days off, which could mean Kingery plays center and Adam Hasty plays left. You're going to need some days off for Rhys Hoskins, perhaps coming off surgery. So I think having a Kingery is very, very good because you can kind of plug them in almost anywhere, get the guys their days that they used to have last year as a designated hitter. So DH, no DH, having somebody that versatile is very, very helpful.
Should we be optimistic about Matt Moore and Anderson in this starting rotation? Or are they guys that might be able to be in the bullpen, as we were kind of just talking about? Can they do relieving if maybe Spencer Howard gets called up? Like, what is their roles going to be?
I would say right now the two of them kind of have the inside edge to start. They signed major league deals. I think the thing about Vince Velasquez, I'm still surprised they brought him back for $4 million. I really thought they could have used that $4 million elsewhere. And you see the type of money some of these guys are getting at the end of the offseason, and it's less than $4 million, right? I mean, they signed two other starters for less than that to major league deals. So you're probably going to see Velasquez in the bullpen. I think those two are going to be the starters. There's still some kind of talk about a 6-man rotation, and you know, I'm not a fan of 6-man rotations because that's one fewer reliever you have. But I think this year the hard part is nobody pitched a lot last year, and I think the worry is if you kind of let people loose every 5th day, their stamina is not going to be what it was in previous years because they just didn't pitch enough last year. So you're probably going to need more than 5 starters no matter what. And I think you feel a heck of a lot better if Vince Velasquez is not one of the guys you're counting on per se and maybe only filling in. And Spencer Howard, you know what? He's had a cup of coffee. He's had a couple injuries even along the way. If there's no pressure to put him into the major league rotation right away. And if he's not ready, if you don't like what you see, you don't need to pitch him. If he's pitching really well, he bumps one of those guys to the bullpen. And I think that's something as a luxury. If they just counted on Spencer Howard to be in this starting rotation, they would regret it later.
Frank Close covers the Phillies, 97.3 ESPN.com, and they made a couple deals today. One was with Matt Joyce. I'm imagining he's kind of replacing Jay Bruce.
Yeah, I would say that's the best slot to kind of put him in. He'll be a guy that might play some left field. Again, if he makes the team, it's a minor league deal. A lot depends on how other dominoes fall, but if he's on your roster, he might play some left field when Andrew McCutchen has the day off. That's probably his role, and then a left-handed pinch hitter off the bench. You're not going to see him start in right, of course, because Harper's there, and he's not really a candidate to play any center field. So he's going to be probably a backup in left field if you want to give Andrew McCutchen a day off against a tough righty. Again, keep those knees healthy. That's the guy you put in. Or you need a pinch hitter from the left side. They don't really have anybody else, so he's it.
With Rhys Hoskins, last year he batted second a lot, and Gil and I were going back and forth on it. Well, he walked a lot, and Bryce Harper was behind him, but it's almost as if he was looking for the walks. Do you think that the 2-hole is a spot for him, really, for this upcoming season?
I'm not a fan of that. I think he's too slow. So yeah,
definitely.
So I mean, he'll clog the bases. I mean, maybe he's stopping at third base when Bryce Harper's stopping at second because he couldn't get to third base. So he's just too slow for me to have that role. I think we really need to see what you have with Hoskins once he's healthy. They say he's going to be ready for spring training. That's the last thing we've heard. I haven't heard any updates lately. There's a chance that he could start off a little bit slower, but I don't see the point of having somebody who's that slow on the base pass batting second. I would rather see Gene Segura there. I'd rather see fill in the blank. I mean, almost anybody.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of. We kind of talked about him hitting in that 2-hole either when they put Rhys Hoskins in that 2-hole, but it'll be interesting. What is his future looking like in terms of being ready for opening day?
Yeah, that seems to be the wild card because when they announced that he had as much as 6 months worth of recovery ahead of him, that was basically 6 months from opening day. So I think we're going to need to wait and see when we get into spring training in a week from today, pitchers and catchers, and then the first full squad workout the following Monday, the 22nd. When he reports, I think we'll know better. Is he that close to being ready, or Is he going to need some more time? Because if he needs a full 6 months, well, that means he's not playing any preseason games and he's starting the year on the DL. But it was optimistic last we heard, but there's still a chance that he's not ready opening day.
All right, Frank, obviously, what do we know about spring training? Is everything going to be on time? Is that all kind of settled now with do they have a date for pitchers and catchers and all that stuff?
Yeah, so the pitchers and catchers are definitely reporting a week from today, which is the 17th. The full squad workout remains scheduled for the 22nd. What we don't know now is what the game schedule is going to be. Now, they released a spring training schedule a long time ago, but they haven't sold a single ticket, and they haven't made any announcements as to what's happening with that. We don't know if there's going to be fans in the stands, a limited number of fans in the stands. I heard some people worry about the revenue at 25% isn't worth it having fans. So the most recent thing reported by Matt Gilb and by Ken Rosenthal, The Athletic, was they're going to kind of redo that schedule, focus on putting teams mostly against their local teams. So you'll see the Phillies play the Blue Jays a lot. You'll see them play the Yankees a lot because Dunedin and Tampa are close by. Probably the Detroit Tigers are in the mix. They're going to try to minimize their travel. But interestingly, Mike, I have a plan to go down there to be there for the opener. I don't know if that opener is going to be
right
hit right at I almost said Bright House Spectrum Field, excuse me, or not. I mean, does the schedule getting changed around mean they're going to open somewhere else? I don't know that information yet, but I've got a flight, but I'll show up and see what happens.
I know, and I put in for your spring training credentials. So, I mean, at least they're telling us to apply for them right now. That's all I do know.
That's a good sign, right?
Yes. This will be the second year in a row, though, that I'm not going to be down there because, it just don't. Apparently, they're letting fans in there, right?
Well, they haven't said. There's some talk of 25%, but I've also heard that, with the revenue splits that go to the city of Clearwater and stuff, that there might not be a financial incentive to even bother. They're definitely not letting fans go to workouts this year. That is one thing that the media update said, is that they're going to close it off and that will be open to media only. So we'll see. I mean, outdoors, warm weather, distance, masks. Could they make it work? Maybe. Major League Baseball tried to push things back a little bit just so that more people would be vaccinated, and including the players, and the players weren't willing to do that. I mentioned that, the effects of last year, a lot of them were trying to get into a rhythm to play. They didn't want to be disrupted any further. So it's getting very, very close to the time for the first game. The first game is scheduled right now for Saturday, the 27th. And whether they play it on that exact day, whether they play it in Clearwater or another local city like Tampa, Dunedin, or Lakeland, that remains to be seen.
All right, Frank Close, 97.3 ESPN.com, at Frank Close. And, of course, as he said, a week from now, Phillies are heading down, and we'll be all over the Phils this year on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Frank, thanks, man.
Good to talk to you guys.
Absolutely. As always, Frank Close, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline.